What's up? For quite a while now, I've put a lot of content on my Snapchat story of me working on my cars, me fixing things up, doing whatever. And I've had a few friends who've told me that I should start a YouTube channel. Thought about it for a while, and I figured with COVID and quarantine and everything that's going on, why not give it a shot? So here we go. Here's the start of this. Hopefully going to kick off something good. Maybe, maybe not. I guess we'll see. Only time will tell. But I figured I'd start the channel off with a video of my car, my first car, the one that I'm in right now. I'll give you a quick tour of it, and hopefully you enjoy. I should also mention before I get started on recording this that I did intend on detailing it before. I work at Enterprise Rent-A-Car, so that's where I usually detail my cars. But a slight issue came up with the car. I'll give you a bit of that towards the end of the video. But yeah, so it's not exactly in perfect, clean condition by any means. It's pretty dirty actually, but nonetheless, here it goes. So like I said, my first car here, a 2008 Ford Explorer. It's XLT trim. It has a single overhead cam V6 engine in it. It is four-wheel drive. I always like the SUVs that I have to have four-wheel drive, but you can see it right there, 4x4. But yeah, so here she is. Here's a quick exterior view. It's in decent shape, I guess. You can see the front's different colors, all mismatched panels. That was completely my fault because I got into a car accident very soon after getting this. Probably end up talking more about that later, maybe not in this video, but you can see the damaged panels of the brown ones. They were the ones that were replaced. Some other exterior features, got the red brake calipers, got the blacked out-ish headlights, and cap for this fog light is missing, but bought a new housing to replace that, so that'll hopefully be fixed soon. Anyway, here she is, here she sits. Moving on to the inside, you can see my sunflower seeds because I have a crippling sunflower seed addiction. I've yet to clean that up. It's got the tan airbag with the black steering wheel and the black interior. Now the rest of this was originally meant to all be like, it's supposed to all be tan right there, and then the front all here is supposed to all be black, and the original airbag was black, but when I got into my accident that deployed, so this was the one that they had in stock, so my mechanic installed that for me. So I think it's cool actually. I like the two-tone steering wheel look. Just some other features just before I start it up. You can see it's just got a single CD changer, MP3 aux input, which is inside the center console here. 5-speed automatic transmission with overdrive. 4x4 switches right there. Traction control switch right here. 2 cup holders. Got some sockets and bolts from my other car right here. I think it's 11:30 seconds. Yep. There's my aux input. I have it all set up so I can have Bluetooth. Open up the center console. You can see right there is usually where I have my dash cams plugged in, but I unplugged it just so that it didn't kill the battery. Realizing now how dry my hands are, I apologize for that. This is my other little Bluetooth module, so I skip songs right here and I play and pause them right here. So it actually plays to this one, but I just skip through this one. That's about it. It's got automatic headlights, turn signal wiper stalk right here, hazard lights. So that's pretty neat, I guess. Yeah, I'll just get it started up and then I'll continue to talk. So here's the key, traditional Ford key of the era. It's got the little remote right here, Ford Motor Company right there. And it's got the good old Ford key. So switch on the side, turn off the heating. That's actually pretty typical of it. It doesn't like to start sometimes. You'll have to crank it quite a few extra times. You can hear right now if I rev it, it sounds like a trash truck. So the fan goes at full speed when you first start it up. Not exactly sure why that is. Here you can see I'm greeted by my usual dash lights. The seatbelt one's not always on just because I don't have my seatbelt on right now. But if I clear that, you can see it's got 150,659.8 miles. ABS, traction control, airbag, and brake lights are all stuck on. That's not because I have my parking brake on, because if I remove it, you'll see it's still on. So, greeted by the nice glow of those lights every time I start it up. Yeah. So, usual, turn the steering wheel. That works fine. Power steering's all good. The horn, funny story about that, I'll tell you in a second, but let me pop the hood, hop around front. Hood latch is right here, right above the Ford logo. This hood is up on this vehicle more than it's down. I don't have my Earbuds in right now just so you can hear how loud this thing usually idles. I get used to it, but I'll put them back in a second so the microphone quality's back up. But yeah, here she is. So like I said, you're looking at the 4-liter single overhead cam V6 engine made by Ford. Stamp right there. Radiator coolants right here. Probably needs to be replaced, but that is whatever. That back on, you can see everything runs smoothly, belts run fine. It's got the belt-driven fan. It's got a newish Duralast battery installed back in October. Fuse box, power steering. I mean, there's not really a ton to show underneath it here. Close the hood. I'll hit the lights for you so I can show you what I did there. So the headlights aren't actually flashing in real life. It's just kind of the frame rate on the camera, but you can see that I installed LED headlights in both my headlights there and my fog lights down here, so it's a brighter white. These are still halogens. I didn't actually change those out. Halogens, incandescents, whatever. Yeah, you can see that the blinkers are just stock, but the rest of the headlights are LEDs. I changed out the side markers right here, so they're LEDs as well. It's running Goodyear Assurance tires. They are, where is it? 235 70R16s for anyone who cared. They were put on in, that was also October of 18, I believe. Yeah, same deal in the back. You can see that I have LED blinkers in there. Those are both the turn and stop lights, so their blinkers is much more noticeable in person. When it's blinking, it doesn't really look like it. These are LEDs as well, and these are LEDs as well. So these are very bright. I appreciate them. You can see my plate lights are LEDs as well. I've outfitted almost everything to LEDs. Here's my hitch receiver light, which works as a third hazard or a stoplight. Same deal over here, all LEDs. And yeah, so I'm gonna hop in the passenger side now. So inside of this door, we have a collection of lighters that I use when camping and whatnot, because I use this vehicle to go camping on several occasions, and some pennies down there. I collect all these lighters when I find them in cars at work. They're left in rental cars very often, as you might imagine. Over here we have a bottle of Mountain Dew Code Red. So this has significance to me. It's actually starting to look disgusting down there, but I crashed my car on, what was it, November 11th of 2018? So that was bought on November 10th of 2018. So I was driving from a flea market to the cross-country state meet for my school. Wanted to go cheer them on because I wasn't running in it. So I was driving this and I needed some caffeine to keep me awake. I bought this and then I crashed my car the next day. So I left it in there when it got towed away from the site. Left it in there ever since. So it's been in there for over 2 years now. We're getting on 3. So fun story about that. Here's the casing to my fog light housing. You can see this is what popped off. The stripping came off, so I'm not even gonna bother trying to fix that one. I just bought a new one entirely, so that's just how it would be normally. But anyways, I'm gonna just toss that back in here. Might need that, probably won't. Sitting back inside, I'm just gonna kill the hazards real quick. Nothing too special here from the passenger side. Inside the glove box, I've also outfitted that light to LED, which I figured I'd mention now that I've changed all of the lights in here to LED. Let me flip the switch. Got the LEDs up there, LED there, and LED in the back. So it's pretty nice. I like it. It's very bright. I did that before I went camping in here, and it was definitely worth the upgrade because I was able to see a ton more at night. Anyways, I feel like I'm the only person in the world really that keeps gloves in their glove box. Got some usual paperwork in here, just service work, documentation, and whatnot. Let's close that up. Nothing special to see here. It's got the usual air vents, airbag right back here, defrosters, little handle right here so you can hold on when I'm driving too fast, mirror. Oh, and can't forget the sunroof. That's leaked on me a couple times before. I think I fixed it, but that's a firm I think. I'm really not sure, but all power as you'd imagine. It's sliding, tilt sunroof, close it back up. And then little sunshade right here. I usually like to keep it open just for more light in the cabin, but that is just me. Another thing I've always liked about this car, actually, these handles right here, you just kind of, you see it's on the armrest right there. Got your arm right here, you grab it and you pull up. You'd be very amazed at how many people see that and they just have absolutely no idea of how to open up the door, and they start freaking out. They're like, where's your door handle? It happens way more often than you'd think, but hopping out. Let's move into the back seat here. So we are in the back seat. Door's kind of got a weird shape. No side door pocket storage, but it's got this handle right here, and I don't know why it pops like that, but it just does sometimes. Got another handle right here. I think it was 2008 that had the first year of the standard side curtain airbags, so this does have curtain airbags right here. So I do feel safe in this for the most part, except for the issue I've been having. Once again, I'll get back to that in a second. Got the standard Ford cabin light up here, LEDs in both sides, and then this one turns on when you open up the door. Air vents on the back. You can flip the switch right here and it'll push air out of the floor, or you can flip it up and it'll push it out of these vents right here. Nothing interesting in this back pocket, but decent leg room. I'm not super tall, but the seat is back pretty far, so I've got decent leg room, and I don't know if the camera's even facing my head right now, but decent headroom, so that's pretty good. I'll just scoot over to this side because it's the exact same thing really, except I got more goodies in here. I do have these 2 snow scrapers on the floor. I have some bottles of Old Spice, which have saved me when I haven't had time to shower after work. And I have a bottle of Gold Bond, which is a necessity, especially if I'm outside and hiking and whatnot. I live by Gold Bond, so a couple water bottles here inside the center console. The 2 couplers right here. There's nothing that folds out of the middle right here. But this does have a pretty decent sized middle seat. I have had to sit here before, and it's got enough space, seat belt and everything, so I don't know, I can't complain about it. Obviously, power windows and everything. Same kind of door handles as front, so let's hop out here and head back to the cargo area. All right, we have made it back to the trunk. Exciting. See, we got the little tab right here that says glass release, so you reach down there and sure enough, there's the glass release. Now this is actually one of my favorite features because I've loaded stuff up to the brim before, and you can't really do that without that glass release, so it is very nice. Yeah, so I'll close this, push it shut, and then grab the handle right here. It's not powered or anything, but it's got this little latch handle right here. Lift it up, and then you have the rear cargo space. Now, some Explorers of this era, you could get it with a rear 3rd row seat that was just kind of right here. Seat belts like right back here, so there wasn't as much cargo space, but this one does not have it. So it's only a 5-seater, which I don't really care too much about. I'm not really hauling around too many people anyways. But here we have this chrome stripping. I'll walk around front right now to show you what that's from. See this nice chrome grille? Yeah, that's where the chrome stripping came from. So it was right here. I'm holding it upside down, I believe. No, that was right side up. It was right here. So that's what it would look like. But I closed the hood and fell off just like that. So that happened twice. I glued it on and then it fell off again. So back to the cargo area. So maybe I'll glue that on, maybe I won't. But anyways, climbing into the cargo area, you can see it's got 2 underfloor storage spots. The one close to the 2nd row, I keep all my utilities in. I have some extension cords, power strips, some cleaning supplies under there, my jack, a bit set, some antifreeze or coolant, and then some full synthetic motor oil. So I always say that no matter how new or how good your car is, I always keep a bottle of coolant and motor oil in there, because if you run out of either, you're screwed. No ifs, ands, or buts. So 2nd underfloor storage. This one I keep more essentials. This one's just kind of like an emergency road trip kit that my dad got from a promotion at work. And here's a bottle of Walmart's best soda, Mountain Lightning. Give that a try if you'd like. Lowering the spare tire, it's right here. Like I said, I'm sorry I didn't get to clean this out. I haven't been able to drive this much. I'll explain later in a bit. Another bottle of windshield washer fluid. Water bottles, just hydration, of course. And then here's my fan. I have this little fan right here. It sits in the cup holder and plugs into a cigarette lighter outlet. And I have that because this is not of air conditioning, which I'll show you why in a minute. So here's the scenario. It's 97 degrees. It's the hottest day of the year. Temperature says it feels like 103. You're driving, you're sweating, and you go to put on the air conditioning. You flip the switch to max AC. You see the AC light does come on, but it doesn't cool down. Why? Well, I finally got digging. I look at all the issues. I try to recharge my AC compressor. It's reading 0, so I'm thinking, all right, something's wrong. So I hop around, I get outside, and I'm looking at diagnostics on here, right? I see this wire right here. Yeah, this is supposed to be going into the AC compressor on the side. So the power is going through this cable. It's just not going into the AC compressor. I'll turn off the engine and show you in a second. So you can see I have my hand on the AC compressor. It does spin. Doesn't spin super freely. There's a little bit of resistance, but not too much. But that clutch isn't going to kick in until this actually has some power running to it. So there's that. I mean, here now the engine's off. You can hear, I don't know if you can hear it, but the headlights are running. They have fans because they do get pretty hot for being LEDs. But yeah, oh, and also, can't forget this. I don't know if you can see it too well. I might have to go down to the undercarriage, but this does, you can see how oily it is down there. Pretty nasty valve cover gasket leak, so that's another fun one. I will just look underneath right now, see if I can actually see anything. Can't see much. All right, I figured now I just mentioned two of the big issues that I've had with this car, or the two ones recently. Over the lifespan of this car, it's given me quite a few issues, but that's kind of my fault because I kind of did drive into the trunk of another car and total this. Right now, it probably still could be deemed mechanically totaled. I guess that's a bit subjective or open to a debate, but I'll just tell you about two of the big issues that I've had. So there have been a couple weeks, I guess it might have even been a couple months, but I would just come in here, I'd try to start it up, and everything would be dead. Nothing on the cluster, clock wouldn't display anything. The little red anti-theft light that's right here that just keeps blinking all the time, it wasn't blinking, so I thought, hey, my battery's dead. So I jump it, and sure enough, it starts. I'd leave it there for another 2 hours, I'd come back out, it's dead again. Same thing, every time I turn it off, it would be dead within a couple hours, if not a couple days. So I figured, hey, it's probably this, because I've only had my battery for a couple months. So I unplug this, leave it, and it's still dead overnight. Now you can see right here, I have a Garmin Dashcam 56 for anybody who's looking to get a dash cam. I would highly recommend this. And then in the back, I have a Garmin Dashcam Mini, which I'll plug in underneath of my center console right here. I routed all the cables up here and around the side. So that's all fine and good, but you can see they're both unplugged right now. So I figured, hey, I'll unplug both of them and see if it still dies. It did. I ran several tests on the battery and alternator myself. I also had several other people run tests on the battery and alternator, and they all came back saying, hey, it's fine, but something else is drawing power. So I talked with some fellow Ford owners that I know, and they all came to a common culprit, the CD changer. They said that it would randomly try to load CDs sometimes, and there would be no CD in there. So I figured, hey, that could be it. So I started pulling the fuses for the CD player and disc changer and everything every night, and I'd wake up the next morning, the battery would be fine. I did that for a couple weeks, and I didn't have any issues, and then it just started happening again. So then I started making sure that everything was off. I turned off the automatic headlight control, and my dad actually said to me, he said, hey, I think it's the automatic headlight control. I said, I don't think it's the automatic headlight control. And sure enough, now I've been leaving it in the off position every night, and I haven't been having any issues. So gotta say, he's probably right on that one. However, now that I think I figured that issue out, I can't say that that's what's been preventing me from getting this thing cleaned. That would be another issue. That issue would be something that happened this past Saturday, I guess it was? Yeah, Saturday. Today's Tuesday, so I haven't driven it since I've taken my other car around, which I'll do a tour on in another video. So let me just give you the briefing of what happened with this. So I did have the dash cams running. I'll try to pull that video and attach it at the end of this video, or just somewhere in the middle. But I'm driving, right? Driving as one does, cruising down the street, leaving one of my friend's house because I'm dog sitting for them. I'm just driving away, and suddenly everything dies. By everything, I don't mean just the electronics. I mean the gauge cluster went dead, the screen went dead, my music stopped playing, HVAC controls turned off. But most concerning, my engine died. It pretty much went like I just did that, and everything was off. I'm cruising, none of that was on, all of my electronics are dead. Now the weirdest part to me was the fact that I did have issues kind of like that before. I've been driving down the street a couple weeks back, and a dash light popped up just kind of in the gauge cluster. I'll show you now. Like right there, that little screen right there, when you turn on the engine where it says check charging system, that screen came on, but it said check brake system. And so it just started clicking, like it started going click, 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 click. And then it was fine, and it just started driving a little bit weird. So I turned it around. And remember, this was a couple weeks ago. However, this time I'm driving away from my friend's house. I'm coming down the street and it says check brake system. Suddenly starts clicking from like the engine or fuse box or something like that again. And then the engine died this time. So I was thinking, thank goodness that happened in a neighborhood where I could pull over to the side. And of course, like 2 minutes later, not even 2 minutes, like 20 seconds, honestly, but it just all comes right back. everything turns back on. I just have to restart the engine when I put it in park and it's good to go. Now, I'm honestly thankful that happened where it did, because it ended up snowing the next day. And I was thinking, if it snowed and I couldn't see the shoulder of a road and I needed to pull over because I didn't have any power, I wouldn't be able to do that safely. Or if I was on the interstate or something and I lost all power, I wouldn't be able to activate my brake lights, my hazard lights. Heck, I couldn't even open up my window to flag someone down. So that's one of those issues where I'm saying, until I get it fixed, I'm not driving it because I don't know what it is, and I don't want it to be something bad that ends up getting me hurt or killed, or someone else, even worse. Anyways, that's enough for this video. I just figured I'd give you a quick tour of the car, something, I guess, decent to kick off the channel. I've seen a lot of interesting car tours, but this one's got character to it. I have a lot of memories to it, or attached to it. I don't really want anything bad to happen to it. I want it to stay running, but honestly, I mean, this issue, it's kind of concerning me. Like, it's burning oil, it's losing power randomly. I don't really know why, and it's throwing brake errors, so I don't want that. But before any of that happened, I did get a new housing for this. I'll probably put that in, maybe on camera, maybe not, because you can see this one's kind of, oh, there it is. Yeah, it's all cracked. So anyways, thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. Hopefully I'll be able to actually kick off the channel, get something good out of it. The channel name right now is just my actual name, so I might change that as time goes on. But if you have any recommendations of things that you want to see, ideas for channel names, whatever, as long as I can do it, I'll do it. I'd like to entertain any ideas that I hear. So thanks again for watching, and stay tuned for hopefully more. It's like, I forgot one more thing. I was locking the car up and I realized something. I told you guys that I would tell you the story about the horn, but I didn't. So I'm in the junkyard with my friends a couple months ago. I guess it was around June, because it was right before I went camping and overlanding in this thing. I was in the junkyard looking for, I guess it was a horn, but I was looking around and I saw a minivan. It was a 2006 blue Dodge Grand Caravan, just like the one that my family used to own. As I'm walking around the front, I saw the bumper was cut off, and that reminded me of the time when I was going on an RV trip with my family and we were towing the minivan. We were pulling it up on the dolly and it ripped the bumper off. So I said, hey, that does look just like mine. My friend tells me to come around back. I look at the bumper stickers on the back and it's got my family's bumper stickers on it. So I think, no way, this is actually my minivan. Look around, it's got the same engine that mine did. It's got the same bumps and scratches that mine did. It is our minivan. So the junkyard's closing in 5 minutes and we got to get out of there as quick as possible. So what do? I take the horn out of our minivan and it is now in my Explorer. So it lives on, even though we got rid of it. I guess it was in 2015. So yeah, so now know the story of the minivan. Lives on in my Explorer, which will hopefully continue to live on, but I just figured I'd ended up with that quick little story. So thank you again for watching and hope to see you again soon.